Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to remind the government its answer period. Last night, the Minister of Health had a showdown with the Calgary Area Medical Staff Society, and their president, Lloyd Maybaum, described the minister as, quote, trying to hoodwink, bamboozle the public with nonsense numbers and figures, unquote. While the minister continues to cloud the issue by talking about fees and money, physicians simply want a little respect, more involvement in healthcare decisions, and for this government to negotiate in good faith. After last night, we need clarity from the minister. Have you imposed a settlement on the doctors, or are you still negotiating? Which is it?
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll be delighted to give the honourable member clarity. The fact of the matter is that this government has provided a plan to increase funding for doctors' fees by $463 million over the next 4 years. His colleagues in the official opposition, however, appear to believe that doctors' salaries should be frozen, perhaps reduced. We don't know. Alberta would like to know.
Mr. Speaker, he just proved the fact that doctors aren't talking about fees and money, they're talking about respect. Given that the Minister of Health and even the Premier has said they support the Canada Health Act, and given that this Act recognizes the value of conciliation and binding arbitration to fairly resolve disputes that rise in negotiations with medical organizations, to the same Minister, why then would you violate the spirit of the Canada Health Act by refusing binding arbitration?
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, on the honourable member's first point, this government and this minister continue to show respect, to continue to listen, and continue to work with doctors. And there were many doctors there last night that were quite willing to acknowledge that. Mr. Speaker, with respect to the Canada Health Act, exactly what it does provide for is that provinces where an agreement with doctors is in effect shall provide reasonable compensation. Mr. Speaker, I think 29% over the national average is pretty reasonable compensation.
Honourable Leader.
Mr. Speaker, it must be a topsy-turvy world, because respect, according to this Minister of Health, is by saying no. No to a public inquiry on physician intimidation. No to physician involvement in family care clinics. And no to the AMA's request for binding arbitration. To the Minister, this question is quite simple for the Minister to answer. Do you recognize the AMA as the legitimate bargaining association, yes or no? Or are you trying to break the backs of the doctors again?
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we of course recognize the importance of a constructive relationship with our physicians, and we have enjoyed one of the most progressive relationships over the years, of which the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has benefited from in his practice as an emergency room doctor. Mr. Speaker, this honourable member needs to make up his mind. Does he want to politicize organized medicine and relationships with government, or does he want to play a constructive role in the dialogue that will lead to an agreement?
Honourable Leader.